Hey all you awesome people, I have another super easy, super simple activity for you today. And yes, it is more paper towel tubes. Look, I've got these coming out my ears. I know you do too, and this one was too good not to share. So check it out. You're going to want to make sure you have some scissors, some wet glue, stick glue will not work for this today, a writing utensil of some sort, a ruler, and some clothespins just for convenience. And don't forget the paper towel tubes, okay? Really, at least 2 or 3, but as many as you got, it's gonna look better. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper towel tube and I'm actually going to flatten it. I'm going to push down the crease on the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to take my handy dandy ruler and I'm going to measure out 1-inch sections. Now, if you are a better person than I, you do not have to do this step. You can kind of eyeball it, but if you like everything to be even, then I suggest you measure it. After you get done making your mark, then you can take your scissors and then you can cut straight across, kind of like you're making these O-rings. Now, once you have all of those cut, you're going to have these nice little oval shapes, these diamonds here, which we can then glue together. I'm going to take just a few of these at a time. I'll move the rest of these out of the way. I'm just going to start with 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue right here. Oh, helps if I open it. Right here on the end, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Right here on this end, I'm going to put a little bit of glue. I'm going to pinch it together, and then I'm going to count to 10. And this is the beginning of a beautiful flower that we are creating here. Once I have that pretty good and stuck together how I like, then I can move on to my next shape. I'm going to put a little glue here. And you can either pick it up and pinch it together. One reason I have this paper towel is I can set it down on the paper towel. The paper towel kind of grips it a little bit. That way I can go about my business and it's still stuck there and it'll stay there until it's all nice and glued. Another way you can create this with convenience is taking your clothespin here and sticking it together like that. You can go walk away, do whatever you need to while it dries. And here I have a beautiful 5-petal flower, nice and dry. Now you're thinking to yourself, that's pretty neat, but what do I do with it? Now, there's some pretty cool options you can do here. You can make a bunch of 5-petal flowers and put them together in a great big wreath. One thing I did was I painted it and hot glued a button and a stem on it so that I can stick it in my vase. My daughter Laurel's just gonna love that. Or you can continue to decorate your flower. You could do a 5-petal flower. You can also do a 6-petal flower. I'm gonna switch to this one because I think it's gonna be a more interesting pattern here. And what I can do to just add some more detail is I can take one of those pieces that I had cut, make sure it's nice and flat, and I can fold it in half. By folding it in half, I make this almost like a little heart shape, which is kind of interesting here. I'm going to take my glue on that side, my glue on that side, and I'm actually going to put it inside one of these petals here. Now I'm going to fold and glue for each one of the petals I have here on my flower. There we are. Now my flower has a little bit more interest to it. The thing I really like about this project is I can take my pieces and I can just lay them out and figure out what I want my design to be, how I want it to look. And I can lay it on this paper towel and it'll hold it there until I am sure that I want to glue it, and I can go back to glue it. Or I can take my pieces back and I can try a different idea. I can take some of these folded pieces I have here and I can stick them on the outside and then try an interesting design that way. This is just a fun activity that you can just play with and really get as intricate as you want with it. Now, you will notice I've got this little empty space here because this was a 6-point petal instead of a 5-point petal. So I'm going to show you how I make a cool little center for that. I'm actually going to take one of these pieces that I have snipped, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. And I'm going to roll it. I'm going to put some glue, and I'm going to roll it as tightly as I can, so it makes a nice little spiral there. I'm going to put a little glue on the outside and make sure this is all dry before you stick this in there. And I'm going to squeeze this down in there as tightly as I can. And voila. Now I can either choose to be happy with that, I can paint it, I can stick a stem on it, or I can keep on going and going and going and going. And I can continue cutting and gluing these cool little pieces, and I can honestly just make it as big as I want it. So here is a piece that I decided to go bigger with, and I just kept on gluing and gluing and gluing until I was satisfied with it. And instead of painting with a brush like I did the 5-point flower, this one I spray painted. I'd used kind of a metallic type paint. I don't know if you can tell that one. So it almost appears like a neat piece of metal art that I can add as a decoration or hang up somewhere. Obviously, I have had a lot of fun with these. I made all kinds of different flowers, and I hope you guys have fun with it too.